The 49ers just got a spark of hope. Actually, two different storylines that I'm going to get to in this video. So if you don't like the first one, don't go anywhere. Skip ahead if you have to. Double tap on the right side of the screen to skip 5 seconds at a time or whatever, because this is an interesting one and I can't wait to get into it. If you're new here and you're looking for daily 49ers content, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all the action. But let's just jump straight in. PFF put out their top 75 players set for free agency. It's actually moved on from 75 already to 100, and I believe they're adding 25 new players every day or so, something like that. But the top free agents, and honestly, I was writing out the 75 and I just stopped because I was like, I don't think it's necessary for me to type out by hand 25 more, but I did put 75 out there for you. And what I think is here that's interesting, okay? And I don't know like what kind of screen you're watching on. So if you're on a cell phone, like you might need to screenshot and Zoom or something, but this is really interesting when you start to look at the amount of talent set for free agency. Obviously, some of these guys are going to be retained by their teams. They're going to sign free agency deals, but these are unrestricted free agents, every single one of them. And so technically speaking, just like Dre Greenlaw, I believe is going to end up back in the red and the gold. I still think that's going to happen, but he is set for free agency technically, and other teams can make offers and he can accept them. And that's just fair. So I think part of the spark of hope in this first story, and there's a spark of hope in both, but part of the spark of hope in this story is what this means for our trenches. I count 18. Sorry, I clicked the wrong screen here. I count 18 different offensive linemen that could potentially be available to the 49ers. That does include Aaron Banks, by the way, number 73 of 75. That does include Aaron Banks, technically speaking. But there's 17 other guys in addition to Aaron Banks that are technically available as offensive linemen. Of course, Drew Dahlman is one of the guys, the center that a lot of folks have been talking about. I want to say Larry Krueger is one of the guys who are saying the 49ers need to go after that center. He's set for free agency. There's a huge opportunity there. Of course, he's up on the top or toward the top of that top 75 list. So that obviously means it's going to come with a price tag. All these guys are going to come with price tags. Of course, I don't know why I'm even bother saying that, but there is talent out there. That's the thing that needs to be said. There's talent out there. And some of those positions are just immediate upgrades for the 49ers. And then you look on the other side of the defensive line, other side of the trenches, right? And you're looking at the defensive line and you've got 19 guys, okay? Not including DJ Jones, 19 guys in the top 75. By the way, how many 49ers are on this list? 3 49ers within the top, I wrote it down, 25. That's crazy, guys. Like, just for comparison, there are four Detroit Lions in the top 100 total, and there are 3 49ers rated in the top 25. So that tells you the type of talent the 49ers are losing, monsters of the game, and how they're ranked coming into free agency. So yeah, you better believe I want the 49ers to at least keep one of those guys. You've got, let's see here. Let's go through real fast and just do it. So, of course, you have Dre Greenlaw. He's at number 18. Charvarius Ward, he's at number 13. Charvarius Ward's gone. There's no question about that. Dre Greenlaw, I think I don't know. Because of the injury situation, I just don't know how many teams are going to take a risk on him. And I think the 49ers stand in a little bit of a better position than everybody else when it comes to keeping him around here. And then you have Fufanga at 23. That's 3 49ers in the top 25 alone. That is pretty crazy. Now, that being said, I think it's still only 4. I think Aaron Banks is the 4th, and I don't know. I have to look through this whole list. I'm looking and I don't see anybody else. But the point is, you look at the defensive line opportunities and you still have a lot of talent. There's some big names on this list. Just look at them in yellow right now. I'm like, just looking at them, I'm like, oh man, I'm ready to feast on this right here. So the 49ers obviously need help. And this is one of those drafts where the 49ers can get a lot of help in the draft at the defensive line position, or the defensive line across the defensive line positions. So maybe this is not a time that you're going to see the 49ers breaking the bank to get one of these top targets. But I think overall, this is a good sign. This is something the 49ers should be happy about, that we should be feeling good about. And I want to just throw another shout out to DJ Jones. Even though he didn't make the top 25 or top 75, I put him on the list because I'm not ready to give up on the guy. Like, I'm not ready for it yet. I want to see DJ back in red and gold. My sources over in Denver, because I do live here, and so I do have a lot of people who live in Denver who know a lot about the Broncos. Excuse me. My sources tell me that DJ Jones isn't going to leave, but I'm still holding out hope. He had the third highest run stop rate among interior defenders in 2024. He missed a lot of tackles, but so did everybody else in a 49ers uniform, if we know what I'm talking about. I think we need somebody who can help us stop the run. I would love to see him back. I'm not giving up on him, and it would be fantastic news for the 49ers. I'm not even sure if they're going for it, but we have been linked with them in the past in trade scenarios, so I'm not going to hold out of hope. I'm not going to stop holding out hope until we know it's a done deal. Now let's get to the second story. We got to get to the second story. It's been a long time on this free agent thing. I think the free agency stuff is super interesting. I'm excited about it, but we got to move on to the next one. If I can get this thing to slide to the next slide. Wow, that was weird. I don't know why that wasn't working. Okay, so Tim Kawakami. A lot coming out from his Twitter account today, from his X account, and at the SF Standard, but really interesting that I feel like what Kawakami wants to get out there right now is the 49ers, yes, they've only publicly interviewed 3 guys, but that doesn't mean they're not talking to other people behind the scenes. And he said as much in his tweets and in his articles. And it seems to me that Kawakami's perspective is that we're all kind of just assuming, since it's just the 3 guys that are publicly known, that that's all the 49ers have done. But he believes that the 49ers probably have already reached out to guys like Pete Carroll. And I think this is an interesting one. This article, by the way, I'm not going to quote a bunch from it because I want to encourage you to go check it out. It is really good. Could the 49ers defensive coordinator search lead them to Pete Carroll? If you're looking for somebody to run the Pete Carroll system, as Kyle Shanahan says he is, it'd be silly not to ask if Carroll wants to run it himself. Very interesting idea and a very interesting take in the article. But if you aren't familiar with the drama, quick background, then we'll get back to Pete Carroll. Basically, what we learned today is that offensive coordinator Liam Cohen is taking himself out of the running for the Jaguars head coaching job. He was supposed to have an interview. I want to say it was today. He was supposed to have an interview. And then there's an interview tomorrow. And then on Friday, it's Robert Saleh. And with Cohen just taking himself out of the running, that by itself is super interesting, okay? And definitely bad news, in my opinion, for the 49ers if you have any interest in having Robert Saleh come back to the team. Then Adam Schefter, a couple hours later, tweets out that Trent Baalke is out as the Jaguars GM. And in my mind, I don't know about you, but I immediately link those two. There is a connection between Liam Cohen, their top prospect, dropping out and deciding to stay with his current team, and Trent Baalke being gone. And I think you get where I'm coming from, but David Lombardi summed it up really well, saying when a GM survives the firing of multiple coaches, as Trent Baalke has, prospective new coaches notice. Word gets around the league. It just took an outside interview process for the word to get back to the Jacksonville ownership. So there you go. Done deal. Sorry, not sorry sort of situation there, but it does not work out well for the 49ers because now that means Robert Saleh is at the top of the list, and at least you would like to think he is. It makes sense to me. So we'll see how it all plays out for the 49ers. But the question about the Pete Carroll return, this is an interesting one. Does Pete Carroll come back to the 49ers after... I was like, is it 20 or 30? 30 years, right? Like, that's a long time. Yeah, 30 years. I should just think about my age, and then I can just count from there. You know, that makes sense. After 30-ish years, something like that, 1994, 95, George Seifert time, would Pete Carroll come back? That's an interesting idea. Here's one little quote, just a little teaser for you. If you're interested in going and checking out more from Tim Kawakami, then you should do that on his channel. I'll link it in the description so you have the chance to do that. But just saying that Carroll's conversations with Las Vegas about the head coaching job are strong indicators that Carroll is quite interested in getting back into the NFL in some way. He and Kyle Shanahan have mutual respect from their days going against each other, and Carroll is one of the original architects of what's known, because of Carroll, as the Seattle-style defense, the 4-3 cover 3 defensive scheme Shanahan has always chosen for the 49ers. Okay, what do you think about it, guys? Like, what would you do right now? You are John Lynch, you're Kyle Shanahan. Are you like thinking, yeah, we're calling up Pete Carroll and we're definitely knocking on that door trying to see if he's going to come and be a part of what we're building here? That's a really interesting take, and I'm interested what you think after years of hating him. You know, it's hard for me to I was too young in those days to care at all when he was actually with the 49ers. So the Pete Carroll I know, obviously beyond the USC Pete Carroll, is the Seattle Seahawks Pete Carroll. And I just don't have great feelings. Too many sore memories for me personally. So let me know what you think. Would you take him? Would you be interested in him coming here? Does that make you feel optimistic, or are you feeling down? I would still say Robert Saleh is my first choice, but if Saleh's gone and it's Pete Carroll, Eberflus, Deshae Townsend, like, who are you going for? There's some other guys out there that are potential candidates. Somebody was commenting the other day about potential, who was it? Someone from college, and I can't remember who it was. I'm not saying that the 49ers don't have anybody other than Brandon Staley. I'm not saying that. I'm hopeful that there's other guys out there the 49ers are out there reaching out to and trying to figure something out with. But this was a really interesting one from Tim Kawakami. I want to get to one final thing, which was today's comment of the day. Shout out to Robert Chang. The 49ers obviously wants Robert Saleh very badly by promising to make him the highest paid defensive coordinator. I think it's foolish to put all your eggs in one basket or in one person until his signature is on the contract. I can only hope that they are just as committed to building up the offensive and defensive lines. Two thoughts. Number one, firstly, I agree with you, Robert Chang. I'm with you, man. But number one, okay, if they put all their eggs in the Robert Saleh basket and Robert Saleh does come to the team, that actually bodes really, really well for their relationship with Robert Saleh, because it shows him, that he was such an important high-value target for them that they didn't even go out there and interview other guys because they really just want Saleh. Like, that's one thing. Number two, just as we were talking about a second ago, I would say that, just because those are the three guys we know about, and it very much looks on the outside, and I've said as much, that the 49ers are putting all their eggs in one basket named Robert Saleh. It does feel that way. It does seem that way. And to the best of our knowledge, that is 100% what's happening. But I do wonder if Kawakami's onto something, that we're all looking at this a little too simply, and that there's probably a lot more going on behind the scenes that's private. For example, did Dennis Allen decline to interview, or did the 49ers just never contact him at all? Those are the things that we often don't find out for weeks later. And then we know, oh, the 49ers were interested in this guy, and we didn't even know that they were interested in that guy. So that kind of stuff, and some of that we never find out. We'll never know. If they've called Pete Carroll's office a couple times, we'll never know. If nothing happens there, nothing comes out publicly. So yes, I agree. And I think most people would agree, having all your eggs in one basket on this situation is not a good scenario. However, hopefully the 49ers are not resting on their laurels on this. Because if they are, and if they stick with Brandon Staley, I do believe I'm in agreement with the folks out there that are saying this puts Kyle Shanahan potentially on the hot seat. If Brandon Staley it ends up being the defensive coordinator for the 49ers and their defense does not improve dramatically, that definitely puts Kyle on the hot seat, in my opinion. I just think, obviously, there are a lot of folks who already believe he's on the hot seat. I don't think Kyle Shanahan's on the hot seat, but I do think his seat gets real hot if things do not improve at that position. When you look at from the outside looking in, it does not look like the 49ers put up a big effort to get anybody else. We'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you guys think, as always, in the comments. I appreciate you and hope you have a fantastic Wednesday night.